here at Players Championship 20.
25.
And with a meeting, quite surprisingly actually, the stuff that I'm about to say, between two players that have lost in the first round on each of the first 2 days here.
25.
Jonny Clayton and Josh Rock both going out in their openers on Friday and Saturday, but both winning their first games today. And for Josh Rock, this is a significant game really, because if he does lose the game, then he is officially out of the race to the World Match Play. Even by winning the tournament tomorrow, he wouldn't be able to bridge the gap, and there would be no Rock in Blackpool, Paul.
How long have you been waiting to say that?
A while.
83.
It's going to be a ferret. I hasten to say he might not be the only one. And I'm not talking about Johan Engström either.
100.
The one thing Jonny Clayton is focused on right now is beating this young man. He's never played him before.
60.
But you hear rumblings around the room. I was talking to Danny Noppert yesterday about how everybody knows that Andrew Gilding is playing well, and when he played him in the final yesterday, he knew what he was up against. Jonny Clayton will know what he's up against with Josh Rock. This could be a very good game now that they've finally got that first win of the week.
Yeah, it might not have won a match, Josh Rock, but did average 100 in a 6-5 defeat to Ryan Searle on Friday. Averaged 104 almost in a 6-1 defeat at the hands of Adrian Lewis. On Saturday, averaged 112 and a half in a victory in the European Tour qualifiers against Matt Campbell on Thursday. So the Rock standard 56 is certainly there.
Perfect. Not so perfect.
100.
So Rock does get a chance at tops.
Game
beautifully done. Beautifully done. It's just so authoritative, isn't it? I mean, the way he throws the darts, it seems to be quite a graceful action. But when the darts hit the board, there's a real thump about it.
Yeah, he got the better of Connor Scott in his opener today. Jonny Clayton whitewashed Stu Wilson.
97.
Having lost in round one, as I said, in the last couple of days, beaten by Brian Raman and Niels Zonneveld. And neither really with the kind of performances that Josh Rock, for example, has been putting in. So I'm not sure what the Ferret has been a favourite for many big events of late, but I'm not sure what shape he goes into Blackpool in. And maybe, Paul, you can ponder and offer an answer to that question.
It's a very interesting thought process when it comes to talking about Jonny Clayton at the minute, because if you think about this time last year, he had the Premier League, the Masters, and other titles already won. This time around the Blackpool cut-off, he hasn't won anything this year. Yet.
125.
Might be saving himself for Blackpool. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think for Johnny's form, confidence, and belief 94. For Blackpool, he could really do with a win today or tomorrow. That's perfect. That one follows it. And that is gorgeous from Clayton. A little bit more of the JC behaviour from 2021 right there.
Fantastic, Mr. Ferret, taking out the 136.
100.
Decent start to this darting duel. Of course, Jonny doesn't have to worry about whether he makes it to Blackpool or not. Won't have to worry about 83. Whether or not he's in big TV tournaments for a long old time. But still 9th in the order of merit.
100.
So, a man who's certainly better than the 9th best player in the world, Jonny Clayton. I don't think there's much argument about that. Will happily take some more 85. Big ranking tournament victories.
I think Jonny Clayton's world ranking will be a fair reflection after this year's Worlds, because we will have a 2-year reflection of 32. Him in his current form. When he's got another Grand Prix, match play, Grand Slam and Worlds in the bank, I do see him inside the top 6.
97.
And I think that in itself will be a better reflection of where he is.
No, he's provisionally set to be 7th by the time the World Championship starts. I think that's a fair call from Paul there on where he might be after it finishes.
81.
Speaking of finishers, 89 on offer for Josh Rock.
He has a shot at the bull.
64.
Offers Clayton another chance at a big ton plus out. This one is trickier. Not quite.
99.
Good try there from JC.
Rock relieved. Rock reprieved.
Game shot.
Objective achieved for Josh Rock, who leads 2-1.
It's almost objective achieved for John Henderson against Ryan Searle right now.
135.
He's 5-2 up on the number 5 seed as Hendo. Imagine the scenes if it was Hendo's day.
A big Barnsley Hendo weekendo.
21.
We have got a couple of players through to the third round already. Jermaine Watermaner has thrashed Raymond van Barneveld 6-0, averaging 103.66. Have been keeping an eye on his form because he does seem to have turned a corner of late. And Kevin Doots, a fellow Dutchman, a 6-1 winner against Karel Sedlacek.
97.
I think wins for Danny Noppert and Jermaine...
93.
Sorry, Dirk van Duivenbode over the last couple of days have not come by surprise. But if we had another Dutch winner in Jermaine Watermaner,
100.
that would be the biggest story of the week so far, because he doesn't have any senior wins at PDC level.
34.
And I still think that we're going to get one of those first-time winners over the next couple of days. I said we'd get one at the start of the week. I'm sticking by it.
Well, it's a tidy time for Dutch starts. We'll come back onto that point in a moment. But Clayton here is looking at tops,
Game shot.
hitting tops, and levelling the match. And yeah, half of the last 12 Players' Championship tournaments have been won by Dutchmen.
None of them
180.
Raymond van Barneveld.
Correct. Van Gerwen, Noppert, Van Duivenbode, Janssen.
Not in a bad spot, Dutch darts.
59.
No matter what anybody says, there is another level past the likes of Dirk and Danny. We've got Danny van Tripe here.
81.
You've got Danny Janssen. There's a whole lot of Dannys going on.
Yeah, the other half have actually been won by Englishmen. And a quarter of those 12 have been won by Michael Smith.
I can confirm that Ryan Searle has been beaten by John Henderson. Hendo with a ton plus average.
100.
He's playing really well today.
One of the winners in that dozen events I'm talking about, Ryan Searle. But he won't be winning today.
97.
Knocked out by the Highlander John Henderson. And his bid to breach a top 16 before Blackpool takes a blow.
Damon Hetter's found his way through to his board final. He's got through Damien Moll after
85.
a tricky first round tie with Gary Anderson. Clayton leaving 165. Commence
100.
rolling of the eyes. And Josh Rock is there to take full advantage.
Yeah, we'll ask you about that in a moment. And
Game shot.
Rock does take advantage. And what it was with that previous visit is Clayton not thinking about things until the last start.
It's something in his game which has improved, but it's something that still needs work.
Well, at least he thinks about it at all now, I think, but he's leaving it until the last start. So, for example, on 265, most players would start on the 19s. He started on the 20s there and ended up switching with the last start, but unable to leave a finish.
I still see it from a lot of players at this
59.
level.
Sorry, 262 he was on before that visit, but...
Well, I saw somebody yesterday on 262 going for 19s first, which I love. 95, which is
180.
5 19s, leaves 167. You get 133, leaves 129, which is a very favourable finish south of 130.
100.
You just got to do things right. And if you don't do things right, you could be punished for it. Someone like Josh Rock does not make those kinds of mistakes.
90.
Well, is he going to get away from Johnny Clayton here? Hasn't been more than a leg between them in this match, but
59.
Rock could break now. 91. 74. 32.
75.
Well, come back for 16. That was a mile off, as he amplified with his exaggerated inspection.
99.
I think Clayton believes that this is going.
Game shot.
He was right. Josh Rock is not afraid of anybody in this game. You can put him up against a resurgent Adrian Lewis. You can put him up against Jonny Clayton. You can put him up against Michael van Gerwen. He just doesn't know the word fear. He is the poster boy for finding new talents and them not being afraid of anybody on planet darts.
And he's only appeared from nowhere in the last year or two. It's been quite incredible. Seemingly crawled out from under a rock and emerged as a top darting talent. There's no record of a match that Josh Rock played in before 2018, and that's only one. That was a boys' match at the World Masters. In terms of any kind of tournament darts, he played in the Irish Classic men's tournament in 2021, and his next event was Q-School, which he got through.
56.
I like stories like this. The unknown quantities that we find at his age who have potentially got careers ahead of them. Clayton has turned things around. This time he gets the look at a finish with Rock not on one.
100.
Yeah, well, it's a ferry who needs to crawl out from under this rock. And that will help him. And that will help him even more. It's an immediate break back for Jonny Clayton. Dealing with the big boys now, Joshy.
There's been a lot made in the last 12 months of how good Jonny Clayton is at 1-2-1 finishes. We can't forget how good he is at 81 finishes as well. He does that a lot. Someone who is doing a lot is Simon Whitlock, currently 5-1 up on Ryan Meikle, averaging over 108. A proper performance from the Wizard. And he's going to need all sorts of wizardry to get himself into the match play, but don't count him out.
If he's through to the third round, that will put him back within £4,000 of Roby John Rodriguez, but he's still going in the tournament as well. It's looking like the Lewis and Rodriguez spots are the ones that are up for grabs.
60.
15th and 16th, and as I said in the previous match, players 17 to 20 all still in the tournament. So it could get a little bit exciting over the next couple of days in that particular metric.
You and I were both in the Czech Republic 3 years ago when Jamie Hughes won the tournament to get through, so nothing is signed, sealed and delivered until about 6 o'clock tomorrow, so don't get comfortable, guys.
Rock looking to put himself back in a comfortable position here. Clayton would have been feeling anything but when they saw that first dart go in the treble, but now he's looking for a ton-topping check out of his own. And he completes the combo. A brilliant stuff. Fantastic comeback from Clayton, having found himself 4-2 down. A break, then a hold. 81, followed by 104. Clinical 100. By Clayton.
Was it just me, or did that double 16 go in a bit more upright than usual? I'm not sure it was a pure shot from Clayton, but it was good enough.
30.
I love these games. They're so watchable. They're both quick. They're both good.
137.
And at this point, we've got no idea who's going to hit the front. These are the games that Clayton was winning last year. He was coming through these challenges with really good spurts towards the end.
Yeah, take away the World Cup, where Jonny Clayton with Gerwyn Price reached the final. It's been a bit of a shaky spell for him. Semi-final defeat in the Premier League. Quarter-final defeat in America. Didn't make it to the quarter-finals of any of the Euro Tour events in that mad month of May. And on the floor, it's been first-round exits on the last couple of visits to Pro Tour tournaments. And before that, well, he'd missed a big chunk of them.
120.
Played in Niedenhausen, had a run to the last 32. Only played one day because he played in the Premier League the night before. Rock here, looking to compound that record, and moves one away from doing so.
It's going to make for a very interesting
100.
week once tomorrow's over, because a lot of us are going to be chatting about the likely candidates to win in Blackpool. And there may be fans out there who think, oh, Jonny Clayton's in form. He's going to be a big person for that. Joe Cullen, those kinds of players. But we're going to have to dig deep into form,
140.
into what they've done in the last 3 to 4 months. And particularly what they've done this week, potentially, to see
60.
who the likely candidates are. It's going to be a very interesting week of trawling through the data.
And those who just watch the big
100.
tournaments on the telly may think that, but there's just been slumps from both those players you just mentioned of late on the Euro Tour and indeed
43.
here in these Players' Championship events. 161, 2 visits to do it. Jonny Clayton, who, when he has got to a double, has hit every time.
49.
So you have to say that it has been the scoring and the approach play that has been the issues.
98.
Doesn't have that problem in this leg. So can he keep that 100% checkout stat going on double 16?
Game shot.
Stupid question.
Well, it's also a third 3-figure finish from Jonny Clayton. There was also an 81 in there as well. Thanks to that flawless finishing record, he's averaging more than a ton.
100.
But I think Paul's put it right. It may be a case where, for once, it's the finishing that is for show, and the scoring could have earned him the dough.
140.
Clayton gets the better start here in leg 11. But it's another game where Josh Rock
100.
is playing brilliantly and he could lose. How many times has that happened this year? He never plays poorly.
140.
And Clayton's doing what Clayton does most of the time when he's under pressure. He finds something.
96.
There's been such a strong, defiant display from Jonny Clayton. All right, maybe not
85.
finding the scoring that he's needed, but he took out this 136 to start the spell of finishing this match. Then one dart at tops, then 81, then 104.
97.
Then that fantastic 112 finish we've just seen. Can he bookend the game with 136 checkouts?
Not quite.
96.
And he might have his pouch picked by the brilliant Rock, who looks at tops for the match. Big dart for Josh.
68.
Just gave it a bit too much air. It's been a great game and they're separated by nothing right now.
He knew he had to hit because Clayton hasn't
Game
missed.
shot,
He
hand
misses
on.
one at double in the very last leg, but it doesn't matter. He gets over the line and Jonny Clayton is through to the third round for the first time this weekend, and that does